Hi, welcome back. Do you feel overwhelmed after yesterday's video? That's the question. I hope not. A lot of times when I film, I don't know where I get rolling and who knows where it's gonna go. So I hope that you found yesterday's video to be very helpful. Just being transparent and sharing with you what I have learned. Today, I'm going to be even more transparent with you, and I'm going to share my journey with you. And again, let me just reiterate, everybody's journey is different. When I talk about my journey, I can't guarantee that you will have the same journey. All I can hope is that those of you that are not quite to perimenopause age are watching this, because what will happen is you will have the opportunity to prepare, and when your symptoms start coming and those mood swings come and you don't know who you are anymore, you'll understand why. I tell you, when I start my period and I start to get my footing back, and that's exactly what I call it, is getting my footing back, I am like, I'm back, it's me, because sometimes I don't feel like I am me when I am leading up to that. So it's nice to be educated and to know and understand what you are going through. So let's be transparent and let me share my menopause journey with you. I recently had a birthday and turned 47. Let me just share with you that the first time that I went in for my annual physical and started to share symptoms that I was experiencing that were perimenopausal symptoms, I was 39 years old. That means that I am 8 years in. They say the average woman is in perimenopause for 5 to 10 years before she has her day of menopause. I'm 8 years in. I am definitely the longer of the bunch. Of course, it had to work out that way, didn't it? But yes, I was 39 years old, and what we did, and this is very, very common, is I was put back on birth control. And that is a very common start for many women that start experiencing perimenopausal symptoms, especially if you are younger. I would say especially if you are in your 30s. We did that for a couple years. To no avail. I still had a lot of issues. It was nice to have the light periods again, always know what day your period was coming on. I did enjoy that. But we can't be on birth control pills forever either. And I had definitely had my times of being on birth control between having children. I don't know exactly what age I was when we started to really test the hormones. I want to say I have probably been on progesterone for 5 years. So maybe 3 years of it. Maybe 2 years I was doing birth control pills. Maybe then we went off, and I almost feel like I was buying a natural progesterone that you can buy over the counter, so it wasn't from a compound pharmacy. I think I may have done that for a year because I had heard about it, maybe from a YouTuber, I don't know. And then we did some testing, and I went on Progesterone Cream, bioidentical hormone replacement progesterone, not synthetic progestin. There's a difference. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand. I know there was the big cancer scare many years ago. I think that was back in 2002. Well, that all got reversed, and I'm sure if you've done your homework, you would know that. If you don't know that, it's because you haven't done your homework. Progesterone actually helps prevent uterine cancer, believe it or not. And they came back with the studies later on, and I will look for the article and I can link it down below, but they ended up coming back with the study that kind of was reversing the testing that they did because it wasn't accurate. And it sounds like the only thing that actually was more of a risk health-wise was estrogen, and it was if you took orally. So if you did the estrogen patch or the cream or something like that, you weren't at risk. And I think it's heart disease and stroke that you're at risk for. So the breast cancer all got eliminated. But anyway, some people still don't know this stuff. And again, it's because of not doing homework. You have to be an advocate for your health. You do. You have to do your homework. Now, the problem is, I think it's in the state of California, they categorize progesterone with synthetic progestin, And because it's categorized together, when you get your prescription, there will be a cancer label on it because they just categorize them together. We can't fix all those issues. But anyway, do your homework, just do your homework. So anyway, back to my routine. What was I experiencing? Well, it's varied. I think when I originally went, and this is really stretching it 8 years ago, but I think a lot of it was more, I just didn't feel myself. I don't know if I was experiencing mood swings, anxiety. I'm really not certain. I just know what's been taking place over the last couple years because it's more fresh in my mind. My perimenopausal symptoms, I would say, have been, well, my doctor says normal, but I have them to an extreme level, if that makes sense. One time my doctor told me that she could have 5 women each in a examination room, and every time she walks into one, they're going to share the same story with her. It's just repetitive all day long. But people have it to different levels. Like I said, she says I'm the average as far as my symptoms, but I have some of them maybe more extreme than others. I would say my symptoms, definitely insomnia, sleep issues, fatigue, just awful fatigue, which again, sleep issues equals fatigue. I don't have time. Like I said yesterday, I don't have time for this. I'm too healthy to go through this. Mood swings for sure, but not drastically. Anxiety as I get closer to starting my period. So everything escalates the closer I am to my period. Once I start my period, I feel great. I am myself. Gradually, as we get closer to the next period, my symptoms would always increase. And by the time I was a few days out, I would just feel out of whack. It was almost like having an out-of-body experience. Who is this? This is not me. This is not me. I generally have at least one down day, and I have a blog post titled Down Days because we all have them. I will link that for you if you'd like to read it. But I generally have like one down day. I don't know what it is. Sugar cravings, difficulty, definitely holding on to a few extra pounds, and difficulty even staying in my window. The further I've gotten into perimenopause, the more I struggle with that. I also can see where my body does want to hold on to fat more. You'll notice that perimenopausal women and postmenopausal women, we start to get what I call menopause arms. I've never heard of that term. I've made it up myself, but even those of us that are very lean and thin, we just start to get a little bit of a fatty arm here, even if we're not necessarily putting on weight. I have an extreme arm program that I help to do to counteract that, which has been very useful, but we thicken through the middle when we're going through perimenopause and postmenopause. I just feel like we want to keep fat on our body more. So I had that, I've had that experience. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything. You know, the sugar cravings, all those things just tie in with perimenopause and my experience. And sometimes they're very, very severe. What we did probably, like I said, maybe about 5 years out, is I went on a low dose progesterone. Again, not synthetic, progestin. I went on progesterone. This is a bioidentical hormone. The nice thing about progesterone that some people don't know is, well, it goes 2 ways. Progesterone has a calming effect to it. It's a calming hormone. So it's good for the sleep issues, and it's also good for the anxiety issues. Some people, on the other hand, don't experience that, and they have more of a negative reaction to progesterone, and that's, again, we're all very different. So you will just have to, if you do get on progesterone during your perimenopause years, you're just going to have to feel it out. For me, it helped me feel better. I can sense the calming effect. and I can sense that it does help with the sleep. But I've had to add in a few other things to help with the sleep issue. The other thing it goes back to is the cortisol. If your cortisol's out of whack, and you all are aware that I struggled with adrenal fatigue, I talked about that in my video, What I Drink for Health, Wellness, and Beauty, and I shared some of the adaptogen herbs that I have incorporated. I just recently had my blood work done. My adrenals are excellent. Don't forget, I will have a video that will come out shortly talking about adrenal fatigue, my journey with that, and what my repertoire is to help improve that, and how I got to where I am today. Our testosterone levels can certainly lower, but my testosterone is really good. But yes, you do have to remember that if your cortisol's out of whack, so many factors are going to play a role, and you're going to have a lot of symptoms from that. My thyroid is also good, so that's another great thing that I don't have a lot of issues with. On the other hand, adaptogen herbs can help with some of the thyroid issues, and I do incorporate some of those adaptogen herbs. I guess what I'm getting at is I believe the reason that some of the things have balanced out for me is because of what we have brought in that's not prescription, but from a natural or a holistic or homeopathic way of treating myself, or Ayurvedic medicine, just going more of the natural, right? It's that combination of things. The biggest thing that I can say that I feel plays the most pronounced effect on how I feel and my perimenopause symptoms is lifestyle. And that's a tough one because, again, I work with clients all the time, and people just don't want to put the work in. Again, people don't want to put the research in for their menopause symptoms. It's just like diet. They don't want to put the research in. Everybody wants the quick fix, and it doesn't work that way. You can get on progesterone, and you can include these adaptogen herbs. You can include the essential oils that I'm going to talk about. You can do whatever you want, but if the lifestyle is not complementing all of those things, you're not going to get feeling better. For me, that wasn't good enough, because you know that I strive for optimal health, not just health, but optimal health. And I earned it. I work very hard at being a healthy person. If you want to feel good, and if you want to skate through your perimenopause and postmenopausal years, you are going to have to adjust some things in your lifestyle. Your diet is going to be imperative, and there's some certain things that you're going to need to stay away from that are just huge triggers during your perimenopause and postmenopausal years. You need to exercise. Again, it goes back to the stress management, and it goes back to sleep. And when I say sleep, I don't mean just logging those hours. It's being on a sleep schedule. It's when that alarm or that reminder on your phone goes off. For me, it's 8 o'clock. It means you better be hustling it up, lady. It's time to get ready for bed. And honoring it, because you're going to be way more healthier if you do that. But let's talk a little bit more about lifestyle, and I work with this all the time with my clients. I hate to be the buzzkill, but probably one of the worst things that you can have during your perimenopausal years, and this doesn't mean I abide by it. It's one thing to know, and it's another thing to apply. Just like eating clean. I know how to eat clean, but that doesn't mean that I don't have chips and guacamole once in a while. Probably more than I should, or something else. Knowing and applying are two different things. Alcohol during your perimenopausal years will wreak havoc on your symptoms. And I know this for a fact. Most perimenopausal women don't experience night sweats or hot flashes. That's usually postmenopausal. Now, not everyone. So somebody's probably going to leave a comment and say, that's fine. Share. We'd love to hear. But we're all different. I was very fortunate. I didn't get hot flashes, and I haven't gotten hot flashes in perimenopause, and I really don't get night sweats except for two things. But again, we're all different, and most of the time, and what I have learned in my research and what has been shared with me, is that it's generally the postmenopausal women that go through the hot flashes and night sweats. If I have alcohol, I will have night sweats that night, guaranteed. I will not sleep well, and I will have night sweats. The other thing too is alcohol spikes your blood sugar, and that's going to give you a hypoglycemic effect. So of course you're going to have these symptoms. So for me, I know that alcohol does not agree with me at this stage of my life. I can tell when I've had probably 2 glasses of wine. I used to be able to get away with more, even 1 glass I can tell. If I exceed 2 glasses of wine, I'm pretty much shoo-in or guaranteed to have the night sweats and to not sleep well. The other thing I experience is that same exact effect on sugar. So the two things, the two elusives that need to get knocked out really are your alcohol and your sugar, and they're basically both going to have this similar effect to your body. Again, you have to put the work in. There's no magic pill. You can have all of the things in your arsenal that you want, but if you're not doing the lifestyle, you're not going to completely function and thrive like you want to, just like diet and exercise. The diet needs to complement the exercise routine. The exercise routine needs to complement the diet. You have to put the work in. It's worth it. It's worth it, right? Processed foods, pretty much the same thing. If you're on the standard American diet, there's a really good chance you could have severe perimenopausal symptoms, but not necessarily. I'm pretty much on a clean diet. But I do know that if I have the sugar, alcohol, or processed foods, or a heavy meal, or anything from the standard American diet, especially when I'm leading up to my period, I am going to have more severe symptoms. So it's a lifestyle choice, and I know that. Doesn't mean I always apply it, but I know it. All right, let's dive into what is in my cocktail. Of course, you already know that I am on progesterone, so I do have progesterone cream. I can apply this once or twice a day. I apply it on different areas of my body, my abdomen, my underarms, my inner thighs. Generally, those are the places that I choose, and I generally do apply twice a day. I am now up to a 20 milligram. I was on 10 milligram for really we just upped it to the 20 milligram. Let me also share with you that when I had my blood work done in April, and this is what I love about my doctor, is we did 3 rounds. In 1 month, we did 3 rounds of testing my hormones. The reason that she did that is, again, what did I mention in yesterday's video? Our hormones are changing all the time. They change day to day. They change hour to hour. It's really hard to treat perimenopause and to put someone on the right dosage because you really don't know what you're working with because the hormones are always changing. My doctor had me do 3 rounds in 1 month, none of them when I was on my period. So the 3 weeks that I was not on my period were the 3 weeks that we tested. And then she gathered that information, and from there, she determined what the right dosage for me was gonna be. Again, find a doctor or practitioner that is going to work with you. Let's talk about bedtime, and I do have a blog post on magnesium and how it can help with sleep. I have magnesium glycinate and magnesium citrate. It really does not matter which one. I was always doing the magnesium citrate, but my doctor had recommended the magnesium glycinate. Along with that, I was taking melatonin for a couple of years. But I have since gotten off the melatonin and I have included chasteberry, and I've been having wonderful results with my sleeping by doing the magnesium glycinate and chasteberry. Chasteberry increases progesterone, promotes hormone balance, and boosts reproductive health. Well, we don't need to produce any babies, but anyway, this is great. This was recommended to me as well. So this has been a great thing for me to incorporate. I've been very happy with this. I have heard other doctors talk about chasteberry being a wonderful addition during the perimenopause years. But I was happy to get rid of and get the melatonin out of my diet. We naturally produce melatonin, but what happens is a lot of times we mess with our melatonin by some of the lifestyle choices. Again, being on our devices at night, being on a computer in the evening, not being able to wind down. Let me also share with you, a lot of people don't know this, but like I have mentioned, anytime we are stressed, our cortisol levels go up, which then can get you into adrenal fatigue. Being on computers and phones all day long stresses us, believe it or not. People that are on their computers and devices all day long are pumping out more cortisol. Well, we don't want to do that because what does cortisol make us do? Hold on to fat. So put your devices down sometimes. Take a break. Don't do things to stress yourself. You have to manage the stress. Again, we won't fix it, manage it. If I am going to have alcohol or a high sugar meal or dessert or something processed, I will always take a blood sugar support, because again, when we have alcohol or sugar and we're going to try to sleep, our blood sugar levels go up, which then puts us into a hypoglycemic effect. The blood sugar support definitely will help with that, and I also always include a digestive enzyme. I will do this anytime, not just for the perimenopause. I recommend this to my clients if they're ever going to have a high sugar or alcohol meal, to always keep some blood sugar support and always digestive enzymes on hand. The other thing that I incorporate during my progesterone time, and I guess let me back up for a moment. I start my progesterone cream at about 12 to 14 days after I end a period. So I will end a period, and then I will go into my calendar and my planner about 12 days out and put in there, start progesterone cream. And I start the progesterone cream. That is when I include the chaste berry. I take the magnesium glycinate all the time, but I include the chaste berry at that time. And then what I do is I stay on that progesterone, that chaste berry, and these two things up until I start my period. Once I start my period, I no longer include those things. And what we have here is clary sage, which is an essential oil, and we have lavender. These are also going to give you a calming effect. I just put a little drop on the ball of each of my feet. So I will do the lavender and the clary sage on one foot, on the ball of my foot, so right behind where like your big toe is, and then I will do it on the other foot. So that's my sleeping cocktail. Again, progesterone cream, magnesium glycinate or magnesium citrate with a chaste berry, and then these. That's what I will do. Once I start my period, I back off on these, I back off on the chaste berry. I still keep the magnesium the whole entire month. I hope that makes sense. We will talk more about the adaptogen herbs once I do that video, but if you have a thyroid issue, ashwagandha is excellent to help with the thyroid and hormone function. I do incorporate ashwagandha and a couple other adaptogen herbs every single day. So do I include this in my cocktail? Yes, but I also have this every single day. So I hope you're understanding what I'm doing the 2 weeks leading up to my period, and then what I take out once my period starts, and then what I have all the other times. But again, you'll hear a lot more about all the adaptogen herbs that I have incorporated once we do that video. Another great thing to incorporate for perimenopausal symptoms, and I have this all throughout the month as well, anytime I make one of my protein shakes. Don't forget you can get protein powder from me. I'll put the information below. But maca is wonderful for hormone health as well. So I just add this in with my protein smoothie that I make. It doesn't really affect the flavor. I can't really recognize it, but it is also a wonderful thing to add in, and definitely during the period. Anybody could benefit from maca, but definitely during the perimenopausal years. I will actually read to you what this says. Boost energy and stamina levels, immune system, athletic endurance, improves memory, focus, general health, and blood circulation, hormones, mood balance, and decreases stress, cholesterol, and gluten-free. So I will have anything that I talk about will be linked below, and any of the blog posts or videos that I talk about will be as well. And another adaptogen herb that I talked about in my What I Drink for Health, Wellness, and Beauty was holy basil tea. Not only do I love the taste of this, I love the fact that it is an adaptogen herb. This is great for hormone health. If you have PCOS, PMS, you're going through the menopausal symptoms of peri or post, this is really going to help balance out those hormones. So as you can tell, it's a whole mix of things. It's lifestyle number one. It's working with a doctor that is going to help you and treat you for what you're going through and listen to you. And it's adding in all these other things. Could you just go on progesterone? You could try that. But if your thyroid's out of whack, and your cortisol levels are out of whack and you're in adrenal fatigue, you may not even notice the results that you're getting by going on a progesterone. You have to get all of your levels checked and find out where you're at everywhere and then create a program. My program is working. That's what I love. And again, I work hard. I work hard at my health. I deserve to feel good. There's no reason for me not to feel good. I was in adrenal fatigue. We fixed it. We corrected it. My adrenals are excellent. Managing my stress. I'm getting my sleep. My thyroid's looking good. I can't fix the fact that I'm in perimenopause. That's going to happen. I can't stop that. So there you go. Hopefully you found this helpful. Hopefully you feel inspired to be your own advocate and get the care and help that you need for your journey, because again, this is my journey. Your journey is going to look much different. For those of you watching, both of the commenting sections are open now. You can get to those down below. Don't forget there's a corresponding blog post to both of the videos. Be sure to go to my website. There's a wealth of information there. Leave your story. We would love to hear it. Be uplifting, being encouraging. This is not the easiest time of our lives, but we can be there to support, love, and nurture one another. So thank you for joining me on this little perimenopause segment or menopausal segment. And I will see you soon in the next video. Take care.